I give this talk at the beginning of every Hackcon. It's a look back on the past period it's been since the last Hackcon. This one covers the spring of 2015, and it's been fundamentally a huge year for student hackers. And I said this actually at Hackcon 2, so like when I gave this back in January of 2014. And so if it was true back then this has been a huge 6 months. So between January and today, this covers the spring semester, we had over 50% growth in every single major category as a community. It's absolutely incredible. I want to tell you about how we were able to accomplish such amazing stuff, and I want to give you a preview of the even bigger growth that we have coming in this semester and year ahead of us. So a quick rundown of what I'm going to talk about today. First, I want to introduce myself. I spent a lot of time talking at North America hackathons. I've never done it in the EU as official part of Major League Hacking, so I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm up here in front of you today. The next, I want to look at the 2015 spring season, give you a quick recap of the amazing things that happened. Then I want to transition to telling you some stories. You might not know this, but you as hackathon organizers have a huge impact on a lot of people's lives every single day. And us as Major League Hacking have the privilege to be able to hear those stories firsthand, but it's very rare that we talk about them as a community. And I want to highlight some really amazing stories that inspired me in the last semester. Then I want to go on to some really exciting announcements, things the Major League Hacking team has been working on super hard for the last 6 months. That I think you're going to be really excited about too. And finally, I want to give you a sneak preview of some of the stuff that we're already working on for the fall 2015 season that I think you're going to love as well. So let me dive right into it. I am Swift, as I mentioned. Believe it or not, I have humble beginnings as an actual hacker. I was also a developer evangelist over at SendGrid. I helped start that program, and I was also the founder of the first ever platform for hackathons, Hacker League, which I sold to Intel back in 2013, right before Major League Hacking. But today I stand in front of you as the CEO of Major League Hacking. But it didn't start out that way. I very easily could have been a lawyer. Has anybody heard this story before? No, a couple people, yeah, you guys. So, roll back the clock to my days in high school. I was not a programmer. I did love computers, but I did not program at all. I actually ran a small landscaping business in my parents' hometown. So while all of my friends were bussing tables and working in restaurants for like 12 hours at a time, I was mowing lawns for about 4 or 5 hours during the week and making just as much money as them. It was amazing. I had some of my friends work with me. It was a really great job during high school. The time came for me to go on to university, and my parents very astutely pointed out that I would be unable to bring my lawnmower with me to the dorm room. And I thought about this, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I probably can't do that, so I need to find a new job. So like any enterprising young university student, much like yourselves, I went on the Rutgers job board. Rutgers is a school I went to. I went on the job board for Rutgers students. I sorted the jobs by how much they paid. I clicked to the one at the very top. It was a programming job. I had never programmed before in my life, but I applied for this job for God knows what reason, and God knows what reason they actually gave me the job with no programming experience. But that's not the best part. The best part is I was writing accounting software in PHP. So it was brutal. It was a really great job, though. I loved it. I spent several years doing that, but it wasn't something I talked about. Back then, there were no student hackathons. There was no student hacker movement. The group of friends I hung out with didn't program. And it was just part of my life that something I did to pay the bills, but just was not something I publicly talked about. I wanted to be a lawyer. Fast forward now a couple of years. I know it was either my sophomore or junior year. It was in the winter, and I know that because we were building an igloo in my backyard, because that's what you do when you live in central New Jersey during the winter and it snows. And I had to leave to go to work. And one of my housemates at the time said, hey, where's Swift? Like, why is he not helping us? And my roommate ratted me out and said, oh, he's in our room programming. That's what he does. So this housemate comes running to my room, bursts through my door, and is like, dude, I hear you program. I'm going to this thing this weekend called a hackathon. You have to come with me. And after a little bit of back and forth, I kind of didn't want to go, but he convinced me. He drags me to my first hackathon, and I show up. And it's a room a lot like this one. It was Hackcon Y in the spring of 2010. And it was 100 other students who were just like me. They loved the internet, they loved software, they loved building things. They were going to spend their weekend making something called a hack, which I had no idea what that was. I had no idea if I would be able to do it. I just wanted to be there and learn something new and try it. I spent the entire weekend staying up working on a hack that actually I locked myself out of at the very end. I couldn't even demo it. But I went home the next day and I completely crashed, as you do after you stay up for 24 hours. But when I woke up, I looked myself in the mirror and I said, that was the best day of my life. Forget being a lawyer, I'm going to be a programmer. And so I switched into CS, and fast forward a few years, I'm standing here in front of you today. Hackathons have the power to change lives. They do it every day. I'm not the only person with that story. I talk to people with that story all the time. Literally, I hear it constantly. I'm sure people in this room have a very similar story where they went to their first hackathon and it literally changed their lives. And it's really amazing because back then, back in 2010, we were lucky to get one student hackathon a month. Like, there was no season. There was 2 hackathons during the entire semester, and they're only on the East Coast of the United States. And you think about where we are today, we've come a long, long way from there. And we have a huge impact on thousands of people literally all over the world. And with that, I want to transition into telling you about the amazing things that you, the community, were able to accomplish in the last 6 months. So what actually happened in student hackathons in the spring of 2015? Well, for starters, we had 77 official sanctioned Major League Hacking events all over the world. For comparison, in the fall, we had 50. So that's over a 50% increase in the number of events that gave students access to high-quality student hackathons all over the world. And at those 77 events last semester, we were able to support 22,000 students, literally all over North America and Europe. Fire alarm. Shake it off.
Your attention, please. An emergency situation has been Personnel are required to take no action.
Emergency, no action.
Further instructions will follow.
Thank you. It's very British. Oh, God. Okay. So. Lovely. All right. I'm going to assume it's over now.
Emergency situation has been reported. Personnel are required to take no action.
Okay. I hope in a real emergency it actually tells you to do something. So for context, these 22,000 people, in the fall, we only had 15,000. So again, we had a 50% increase in the number of people who we were able to give access to those same experiences that changed lives every single day. Next one is like one of my favorites. Our busiest weekend, we were able to support 9 simultaneous hackathons worldwide. For context, in the fall, our busiest weekend, we were only able to support 5. That's 80% growth in the number of events that we were able to support each weekend. That's tons of new hackathons that are coming online that we're giving hackers all over the world who didn't have access to this before, access to it every single day. It's pretty incredible. The Major League Hacking team puts in a ton of hard work to make this possible. This one is actually, the next stat is very much thanks to everybody here in Europe. We are officially in 10 countries. For context, in the fall, we were only in 4. So that's over 100% growth in the number of countries that we actually have Major League Hacking sanctioned events in. That's really amazing when you think about it. There are tons of hackers all over the world who still literally have zero access to hackathons of any kind, let alone actually good ones that are for students and designed to help them get integrated in this community. We sent over 80,000 people from the Major League Hacking website to your events. Of those 80,000, only about 22,000 of them converted, obviously, but 80,000 is a huge number. For comparison, in the fall, we sent 25,000. That's a 200% increase in the number of people who give a shit about your events, who want to know what's going on, who want to find out when they are, who want to be there. So this community is growing. Like I said, it has been a huge, huge year for student hackathons. But this isn't just about hackathons, right? Like if this was just about hackathons, we'd pretty much be able to talk about the best practices for events and move on. This is about the community. This is about things like HH. This is about things like Lady Storm hackathons. This is a lifestyle for a lot of people. This is a movement. And every day, we're moving towards bringing that hacker ethos to more and more students literally all over the world. And a lot of that is thanks to you, the community. And so with that, I want to transition into some stories. Now, like I said before, as Major League Hacking, we get to hear these stories every single day. It's really amazing. There's tons of great things that are happening all the time. And I want to share some of my favorites with you. So the first story involves these 4 hackers. I want to introduce you to Stefan, I want to introduce you to Justice, Shreyas, and Rahit. These are 4 hackers who got their start in the fall season. They'd never been to a hackathon before the fall, and they had the opportunity to make a huge impact on the world. Now this story starts with Stefan. He's on a bus heading to MHacks, which is one of the flagship events in the US. He has a problem. He had no data connection. And so he's going on this bus. He has no idea when time that MHacks actually starts. He has no idea if he's actually going to make it, and no way to find out. Luckily, he did make it to MHacks, and he found his friends, and he went up to them and he said, guys, I had a problem on my way here. I didn't have access to the internet. And there are millions of people, literally all over the world, who have that same problem every single day. We need to think of a way we can help them. And so they did what hackers do best. They hacked. They put their mind to it, and they built something amazing. They built this thing called Cosmos web browser. This is a web browser that's backed by SMS. So people all over the world can use that same connection they use to send and receive text messages every day to actually browse the internet. Think about the implications of that. There are millions of people who could have access to Cosmos that would be able to access the same internet that we are so lucky to be able to access every day, right? And this blew up. They got covered in Fastco, Fandroid, GigaOM, Engadget, and tons of other publications. The press was literally eating this up. They had tens of thousands of people sign up and use this service since they built it at MHacks. I don't even want to think about what that Twilio bill looked like at the end of that hackathon. But the story doesn't stop there. Literally a few weeks later, they won the official Major League Hacking Rookie of the Year prize from Teal. And then Teal immediately invited all of them to interview for the Teal Fellowship, which is a really prestigious fellowship that goes on globally for people 18 to 20. Then they applied to Techstars and were accepted into the inaugural class of Techstars Detroit, where they're now working on turning Cosmos into a real company. So these 4 hackers who literally got their start just randomly at a hackathon in the fall have gone from being first-time hackers to startup founders in one of the top accelerators in the world with tens of thousands of customers who have been covered extensively by the press and have made a huge impact on a ton of people. It's pretty amazing, right? And that's the thing, is hackers change lives. They do it every single day by doing what they do best, by hacking. These hackers didn't go into it thinking they were going to make a huge impact on the world. They just saw a problem that they thought they could tackle, and they did it over the course of a weekend. But this isn't the only story like this. There's tons of other ones. There's Workflow, which was built at a hackathon that won the Apple Design Award. That same group of hackers won the Apple Design Award the year before as well for another hack they made at a Major League Hacking hackathon. And then there's some other stories that I love. Like the next story I'm going to tell you, it's the story of a young woman from New Jersey, which is where I grew up. So something very near and dear to my heart. So this story starts at Hackcon Y this past semester. I got my start at Hackcon Y. So this is a really special hackathon for me. Every time I go back, I try to take the opportunity to speak to students and tell them about my story, about the successes I had and some of the learnings I have along the way. Much like this, I was at Hackcon Y talking in front of a group. And afterwards, this young woman comes up to me and she says, Swift, thank you so much for coming here and speaking. It was an amazing talk. I have to tell you, you changed my life. And that's a really powerful thing when somebody says that to you. I laughed, assuming that it was hyperbole, and I asked her to tell me her story, and she did. This young woman was at a make or break moment in her life. She's enrolled in community college, and she has a choice. She's either going to drop out and go get a job in a restaurant, or she's going to figure out her life and get things together. So she did what any enterprising young college student would do. She went on the internet, and she found a blog post that I wrote years ago. So back when I was a Rutgers student, I was having trouble finding a job. And I assumed what was going on was on my resume, people would read that I was from Rutgers and studying CS, and they would promptly throw my resume in the trash because Rutgers is a state school, and I assumed that no one believed that great computer scientists could come from Rutgers. I later learned there were a lot of other problems with that resume, which is why I wasn't getting a job, but at the time, that's what I believed. And I wanted to highlight that amazing hackers went to Rutgers. So I wrote a blog post telling the stories of all the people in my community, the things they were building every weekend, the hackathons they were going to, who they were, and what they did. I wanted Rutgers to be thought of as a hacking dynasty so that everybody would know that great hackers came from Rutgers. And this young woman stumbled across that post, and she couldn't get enough. She literally read every piece of that article. She clicked through every name, every hack, every hackathon. She couldn't consume all of it. She was inspired. So she enrolled in her CS class at her community college and applied to Rutgers. And she got in. And not only did she get in, but she joined this thing called the Rutgers Hackathon Club, which is something I started when I was a student. And now she's helping them organize their hackathon on campus at Rutgers. I didn't write that blog post thinking I was going to change people's lives. In fact, I really wrote it for myself to help further what I was doing, right? To highlight these amazing things that people who I respected and cared about were doing every single day. But that's the thing. I impacted that girl's life without even knowing it. And you all have stories just like that. You're doing things every day that impact people, and you don't even know you're doing it. Jared Zonerick, who works at Major League Hacking right now, he's the founder of a hackathon called HackBCA, which was one of the first ever hackathons for high school students in the United States. And every day, kids come up to him and say, Jared, you're such an inspiration to me. I'm creating HackBCA changed the world for high school students. It gave us access to all of these super high quality events. And Jared didn't do that because he thought he was going to change the world. He did it because he saw a problem, and he thought he could tackle it, and he did. And that's the thing, right? You organizers are doing this all the time too. You're changing people's lives without even knowing it. And that's why Major League Hacking exists, right? We know what's going on here, and we want to be the way that we amplify the voice of the community. We want to tell your stories to the world. Which brings me to my last story. I want to introduce you to Alexander Gould. So this story starts on a train a little bit after midnight. I was coming home from a neighborhood in New York City called the Bronx, which I'm told is about as dangerous as Brixton. I'm not sure what that reference is, but it's not a great neighborhood. Anyway, I'm on this train with Alexander and a number of other students. We're coming home from the first ever high school hackathon that got put on at his school. Alex had just graduated the year before, but he helped a group of students spearhead this initiative to bring a hackathon to his high school and convince the administration. It was a huge success. The hackers made amazing things. The administrators were in love with the fact that these students were doing something productive with their time. The community loved it. It was just a really fantastic event. I was super proud of Alex and all the things he was able to accomplish, and super proud of the organizers. So I invited Alex to come by our office at Major League Hacking and hang out with us for a day, which he did a couple of days later. And he was there, and we were eating lunch, and the natural topic of conversation became Silicon Valley HBO, which the season finale had just ended the night before. So of course everybody wanted to talk about that. And at some point, somebody brought up the middle compression algorithm, which is a piece of Silicon Valley HBO. And Alex got this look on his face that I've seen countless hackers have at hackathons. Middle out compression? I could totally have built that. And we laughed and said, okay, if you figure it out, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. But Alex actually took the challenge. The next weekend, he went out to a hackathon and spent the time trying to recreate middle-out compression. He consumed every minute he could get of Silicon Valley HBO, every detail that they talked about how middle-out compression worked, and he dissected it and analyzed it. And he called us and was like, guys, I figured it out. And we're like, oh my God, we're going to the 3 Comma Club. Get in here, man. So he came in and he showed us what he had, and we were blown away. And we said, Alex, you have to share this with people. And we helped him write his first ever blog post, and we published it on the Major League Hacking blog. But the story didn't stop there. Mike Judge, the guy who created Silicon Valley HBO, he invented Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Office Space, Idiocracy. He read the article and tweeted about Alex and his project and what he'd done over the course of a weekend. This hacker who I met on a train coming home from the Bronx, who just started a hackathon at his high school, was now being talked about by some of the most influential creators in the world right now, right? And that's the thing, right? Hackers are doing really amazing things every day, and we want to tell those stories, and we want you to tell those stories. We want to be the platform. We want your voice to be amplified and heard by the entire world. I'll talk about some amazing stats about how many people care about what's going on in this community a little bit later, but rest assured that the world cares about what's going on here. The world cares about things hackers are making, and we are really, really excited to continue telling your stories every single day. And so with that, I want to transition into just 3 really exciting announcements that I have. The Major League Hacking team, as I mentioned, has been working really, really hard on these. I'm super proud of them. These are things that are designed to help make you, the community, more successful, to help really further the things you're doing every single day. So, announcement number 1. I think it goes without saying, but obviously this community is getting huge. That's a recurring theme of this talk. Believe it or not, there are 1,500 organizers in the community just like you. Only about 200 have ever attended a Hackcon. So think about all the other organizers who are out there in the world that don't have access to the same information that you do necessarily, right? And these are only the hackathon organizers that are in the Major League Hacking official season. So like, there are a ton of other organizers out there in the world as well, and aspiring organizers too. There are literally hundreds of sponsors who make these events possible. And this is just the companies. There are thousands of individuals who work for those companies that actually show up at the event and help make sure that things run. They're the people staying up until 2 a.m. mentoring. They're the people who are running out to buy you pizza when you run out of food. These are the people who like really power these events. Not to mention the 50,000 students who actually attend them and compete in them, right? And let's not forget about mentors, judges, volunteers, the faculty. There are a ton of people out there in the world who are involved in this community in some way, shape, or form, and they have a lot of really great ideas about where it should go in the future. And therein lies the problem. We need a better way to collect feedback and to collect inspiration from that community and those people who care just as much as the Major League Hacking team does about the future of this movement. And so with that, I want to announce a really special initiative that we've been working on called the Major League Hacking Community Council. This is a council of 7 individuals who are trusted and respected from the community who can help make sure that the voice of the community is being heard when we're thinking about the future of student hackathons, we're thinking about the future of this movement and what's going to happen down the road. We love talking to the community directly. We do it constantly, and to be clear, that's definitely not going to stop. But we want to make sure that we give people with a variety of perspectives, some new voices in the room, the opportunity to come directly to us, to give us feedback, and to have a constructive environment to do that in. And also to be clear again, we're going to continue working with all the people that we've been working with from the beginning to give us advice. We just want to make sure that we get some fresh faces in the room with some new perspectives that we can use to continue growing this. We want the council to be made up of sponsors, hackers, organizers, people from across the community in a variety of roles who have a variety of perspectives that can all be heard. So if you're interested in the community council, you're interested in learning more, we're actively looking for people to join it. We would love to talk to you about it. I'll be here all weekend. You can definitely come up and chat with me or email me. I'll give you my email at the end, but it's swift@Major League Hacking. Announcement number 2. So the Major League Hacking team is super fortunate. We get to go to hundreds of hackathons over the course of a year. We literally get to be on the ground working with you directly, the organizers, and we have seen everything that can happen. We've seen angry sponsors, keynotes not showing up. One of the hackathons in the EU actually had a rugby team show up for a naked calendar shoot on site at the hackathon. That was you. Those are all true stories. But here's the thing, right? There are thousands of community members out there who care just as deeply as we do about the future of this movement, about the things that are going on. But they don't have those same opportunities to go and be on site and work with hackers directly to be at all these hackathons. They don't get to learn as much as we, the Major League Hacking team, do. And we want to enable those people to have the power to do that, right? We want to let them not only be at the events, but also to learn from the Major League Hacking team, who has pioneered developer evangelism in the modern age. We've been thinking about student hackers since the second ever student hackathon, right? And we want to make sure those people who care as much as we do have the opportunity to both learn from the community and learn from us. So with that, I want to announce the Major League Hacking Coaches Program 2.0. We're seeking out some of the best and brightest individuals from across the community. We're going to fly them out to Major League Hacking sanctioned events to work directly with the organizers and the Major League Hacking team on site. We're going to teach them the best practices around organizing events. We're going to let them learn directly and work with you to help support you, the organizers and the community. We want them to help, number 1, at events, and number 2, to share the things they learned with the world in addition to Major League Hacking team. So if you're interested in going to events, helping to further the community, helping to represent Major League Hacking, the things we stand for, this is actually a paid part-time job too. So if you're looking for something to do in your part-time while you're at school and spend some weekends going to hackathons and helping out and giving back, this is definitely a great way to do that. I would love to talk to you about it. Again, this is something you can email me to talk about specifically, or you can talk while I'm here this weekend for sure. We're actively rolling this out this season in North America, and we're working hard to roll it out globally in the coming semester as well. So actively working on people to help us alpha that as well. And last but not least, my third announcement. This one I am really, really excited about. I've actually talked with several people about this already this weekend. Here's a problem that I'm going to present to you. Registering for hackathons is ridiculously inefficient and hard. Think about this situation, right? We sent 80,000 people from the Major League Hacking website to your websites, but only 20,000 of them actually showed up at events. What happened to the other 60,000 people? Where did they drop off? The truth is we have no idea. But if you think about the process for registering for a student hackathon, it's really hard, right? You go to the season website, you find an event that you can potentially go to that's near you, you click on it. It's not open for registration. Back button. Find another event. Click on that one. Okay, this one's open for registration. Good. Click register. Now you're presented with 8 forms that you need to fill out on your way to actually registering for this event. Not only that, but you have to upload your resume, which you haven't updated in a year. So now you go update that, upload it, and finally, 8 forms and a new resume later, you've registered to potentially attend the hackathon, which you're going to find out from the organizer if you can actually go later on. Back button. New event. The same 8 forms and the same resume now need to be filled out again. Registering for hackathons is too damn hard. The truth is that this is a system that is like ridiculously inefficient, and we can definitely make this experience better for both organizers and for attendees. And so with that, I want to introduce you to MyMLH. This is a single sign-on solution for hackers to register for your events in one click. This is a profile that follows a hacker across multiple events that they can continuously update, makes registering for hackathons super easy. You'll be able to collect everything you need from an attendee, all of the information in one click. And it's got a super simple API that you can extend to add new things that you need when you're registering. So with that, I want to call up my friend Shai over here. He's going to help me demo this product to you live right now. Give a round for Shai.
Got it.
Cool. So, meet Shai. You're going to want to actually close that out. Live demo. Yeah. Cool. Great. So, meet Shai. Shai stumbles across this hackathon from the Major League Hacking season, SharkHacks 5000, which is an amazing Hackcon talk that happened a couple years ago. You should definitely check it out. He clicks register, and he is presented with the opportunity to register using MyMLH. If he already has an account, there's a link for him at the bottom where he can click to log in. If he already has an account, it's a single click to register. So we collect some basic information from Shai, his name, his email, a password that he can use to log in the future. And then we go through the process of collecting the basic information that you, the organizers, should be collecting already, but you wouldn't believe how many of you don't actually collect. Things like, where do people go to school? When do they graduate? What do they major in? Do they have any dietary restrictions, special needs? A phone number so you can contact them in the case of an emergency if something goes wrong. These are all the information that you, the organizer, should have that we collect automatically during sign up. We also present opportunities for people to update this as it changes over time. But we think a lot of this is evergreen too, so just filling it in once will make it a lot easier to register for hackathons in the future. Finally, we collect Shai's age. If he's a minor, we'll alert you of that so you can make sure you have the proper documentation and forms for that. Or you can let them know that you're not supporting minors at that time. Basic gender demographics, because obviously something we care a lot about is increasing diversity across the Major League Hacking season. Right now we've been focusing a lot on gender. Obviously we'll extend that out to focus on other areas of diversity as well in the future. And finally, a mobile phone number so that we can contact him in the case of an emergency. He completes his profile. He's presented with the option to authorize. If he had logged in, he would have seen this screen immediately, or if he was already logged in, he would have seen it as well. He clicks authorize, and congratulations, Shai, you are now registered for SharkHacks 5000. Let's give Shai a round of applause. So, as organizers, as developers, this is a great system. You could literally hook this up to GitHub Pages. There's an API to do that, and a really simple documentation that'll help you get started. Say that you wanted to actually programmatically add some new stuff. This is an OAuth API, so you can really easily integrate it into your existing registration system. As people register, you can also directly pull the list of people who have registered to attend the event using a really simple API as well. All you need is the client ID and secret that you can get on the MyMLH dashboard. If you actually ran that command, you would get a list of all of the hackers who have actually registered, as well as that basic information that they filled out in their profiles. There's also an API that's coming live in a few weeks that will help you get historic information about events and things that people have been building during the course of the season. So if you're looking to collect that information, it'll be available as well. We're really, really excited about MyMLH. We think it's going to be a huge changing force in the way that people register and think about attending hackathons. It's going to help us, the community, have access to even better data that we didn't have, data that we can use to help make the community better over time. It's going to help. We're going to build a whole generation of open source tools to help you, the organizers, and hackers better support the community and to get started more quickly. Imagine a single page that you can deploy to GitHub Pages in one click and customize for your event, or a dashboard to analyze what's going on in your event and your attendees and manage the flow. Remember, you can use that API to actually plug this into an existing system if you already have one. So it should be super simple to roll out and use. We've already rolled this out to a couple of events in the US. If you're interested, I'm more than happy to help you get started with this here as well. This is in very early alpha, where we have a number of people who are helping us test it and do it live. we'll be rolling this out more officially in the coming spring. So we're really, really excited about MyMLH. I think it's going to be a really big deal. We are excited as we are too. And with that, I want to give you a short preview of the fall 2015 season. These are some initiatives that are already in motion, some really exciting stuff going on. The first one I want to tell you about is something that just happened a few weeks ago, Hack the Planet, which was our spring season finale. It happened in Mountain View, California. We had 400 hackers from across the world come to Mountain View to compete. The goal was to make this a global event. Obviously, we spent a lot of time in our own regions meeting some of the same hackers. We want to bring some of the people from across the season together and celebrate the amazing things they've been doing for 6 months. We had over 150,000 people tune in for the live stream at the end of the event to watch what these hackers had made. And we actually had a team from the UK claim third at the event. I think they're in the audience somewhere. This event was very, very heavily inspired from the amazing work that the EU team has done on launch and landing. We're really excited about these initiatives. We're going to be doing a lot more of them in the future. We think that celebrating the community and giving them new opportunities in areas that are not online yet or in time frames like the summer when there are not events happening, it can be really important. So stay tuned for a lot more like that in the future. The next thing I want to talk to you about is this thing called Local Hack Day. So there's something that most organizers tend to forget, and that's that going to a hackathon is actually really scary. So imagine this. You're a programmer. You have never heard of a hackathon before, but one of your friends invites you to go to one. So now you're prompted with a terrifying journey. You have to get on a bus, drive for 5 hours to some place that you have never been before, where you're not going to have access to showers. You might have access to healthy food. The Wi-Fi may work. You're going to build something that you don't know you're capable of doing with a bunch of strangers that you don't know. And you're going to have no way to get home until Sunday when you get back on the bus for another 5-hour journey home. That's a ridiculously daunting task. Local Hack Day is designed to be a gentle introduction to both hackathons for attendees and hackathon organizing for organizers. It's a 12-hour hack day on your school's campus to celebrate your school's community. It's about learning, it's about sharing, it's about celebrating those people. If you sign up for a Local Hack Day, Major League Hacking team will work directly with you to help make sure it's a success. All you have to do is find a venue and get a couple of people to show up. Often people just use a classroom, so it's totally free to do. We'll pay for pizza and swag and ship it to you. We also live stream a ton of tutorials and videos to help people get started with new technologies during Local Hack Day. Last year when we did this, we had 33 simultaneous Local Hack Days all over North America, and over 1,000 hackers participated. This season, we're doing Local Hack Day again in October. We have over 100 events in the pipeline. Almost 70 of them are official and live already. We're on every single continent except for Antarctica. We will get that one next year. And over 2,000 hackers are expected to attend the event. I've been talking very closely with Shai, who was up here before, who is the one who invented Local Hack Day. He's been the spearhead. He's been driving it forward at Major League Hacking. It looks like it's going to be a really exciting event. There's some amazing swag. If you're interested in organizing a Local Hack Day, it is not too late. Shai will be giving a talk later on this weekend about how you can do that. I think having these events, having a variety of different kinds of events for your community to help people get started with this movement is really, really important. This is a great way to continue growing the community at your school. So you want to organize a Local Hack Day, definitely talk to me or Shai. And the last thing I want to tell you about is the Major League Hacking Fall 2015 season. There are already 50 plus sanctioned events globally, and there are over 100 more in the pipeline. This is going to be an enormous season, absolutely enormous. We're expecting over 30,000 hackers to participate in official Major League Hacking sanctioned events around the world. We're going to be continuing to expand to new areas in North America and Europe that we have not been to before, and the perks that you have come to know and love are only going to get bigger and better than ever. We're going to be launching a ton of new, amazing initiatives, things like the Community Council, things like the Coaches Program, things like MyMLH. More like that is coming, rest assured. The Major League Hacking team is hard at work to help support you, the community, and other organizers around the world. So with that, I want to tell you that over the course of this weekend, you're going to be hearing from the people who've made this all possible, you, the community. Without those late nights, the cans of Red Bull, Google Sheets, the multitude of emails, the gazillion Facebook messages, 50,000 hackers in the community might all be lawyers. So with that, let's give it up for Hackcon. I'm really, really, really excited to be here with you this weekend. Thank you very much.